Alright, what is up, you guys? I am here continuing on the SummerSlam pay-per-view reviews, and this one I'm looking forward to because I really like this pay-per-view a lot. SummerSlam 2006. You know, we're obviously into the Ruthless Aggression era pay-per-views now, which is my favorite era, personally. And, you know, this is not the best SummerSlam, but it's one that I've always really enjoyed. And, you know, I'm happy to finally talk about it. So, you know, this one was the first tri-branded pay-per-view. So, Raw, SmackDown, and ECW. You know, it was the first time ECW got into the mix, and it would be like that for a little while until they stopped the brand pay-per-views, unfortunately. So, you know, we had an opening match of Rey Mysterio versus Chavo Guerrero. This isn't their best match, but it's still a decent opener. And I think it's better than SummerSlam 2007's match. And, you know, I don't think it's quite as good as their Falls Count Anywhere or their I Quit match. But still, very good opener. And then we have Big Show, who was your ECW champion at the time after Rob Van Dam got arrested and had to drop the title. And he is facing the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal Sabu. I'm a huge Sabu fan. You know, I'm a classic ECW. You know, I love, you know, hardcore TV, you know, the classic ECW pay-per-views. So to see Sabu in the ring again is just, yeah, it's cool. I always like Sabu. And, you know, this match isn't the greatest. You know, you had the botched table spot, which is just more comedic. But, you know, you have a decent Extreme Rules match. And, you know, this isn't really where ECW failed. Like, they were still trying. We were still in the beginning stages of the WWE ECW reboot. So it's a decent world title match there. Next up, we have Hulk Hogan versus Randy Orton. And this was Hulk Hogan's final match in WWE, even to this day. And, you know, he faced Randy Orton, legend versus legend killer. You know, I think this is really cool, but I really hate that Hulk Hogan won. I really think he should have put Randy Orton over. I think it's a big mistake. If you really wanted to go this far with the legend killer, Hulk Hogan at the time was still like the biggest legend. You know, obviously, you know, I don't consider him the greatest legend of all time by any means, but at the time, he was really treated as, you know, this larger-than-life legend, and, you know, which I do agree with. He was, you know, he pretty much helped build the WWE, you know, in, you know, the late 80s, early 90s, and then, obviously, he segued into WCW, but I just think it would have really contributed to Randy Orton's career as the legend killer for him to win. So it's just really unfortunate. Then we have the I Quit match. Ric Flair versus Mick Foley. This was awesome. I love this match. You know, Mick Foley had Melina at his side for some reason. I never liked that whole thing, but you did have a really good promo. Backstage segment, I should say, with Melina and Mick Foley before the match. So that was really cool. How she was kind of questioning, you know, whether he can win and, you know, his ability to face Ric Flair in this match. And this was a brutal match. I loved it. You know, you had the thumbtacks, you had barbed wire tables. I always say, violence in wrestling should always have a meaning. And this one definitely did. You know, I don't like senseless violence in WWE or any wrestling. I always think it should contribute to the story and really have good psychology. If you're going to go violent, go all the way and have some psychology to it. And this match really did. It told a great story. You know, I really think this was match of the night. So, you know, I love this match. And, of course, you have Ric Flair winning, which was kind of surprising, too. And, you know, I mean, it's Ric Flair, who, in my opinion, is the greatest legend of all time. People may disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. So, next up we have DX versus Mr. McMahon and Shane McMahon. As you can see, you have the graffiti there over in the McMahon family there. I really like the 2006 DX run. I hate the 2009 run, so this was more down my alley. Obviously their first run was the best. And 2006, obviously they still toned it down a little bit. This isn't Attitude Era, but it's still Ruthless Aggression Era. So you had some great promos, some great segments, and some decent matches with the McMahons. And I love this rivalry. This went on for a few pay-per-views. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this. This match was more kind of overbooked. Like, you had Umaga, Mr. Kennedy, you had all these run-ins and, kind of interferences. So it's more of like a gimmick. It almost feels like a WCW match, to be honest. You just have everyone running in, everyone running out. So, there's a lot to this match. It's entertaining, but it's not great. I prefer their Hell in a Cell match, personally, at Unforgiven. So let's see. Next we have King Booker versus Batista for the World Heavyweight title. I hate this rivalry. I don't think they had a good match together. This isn't bad, but I just hated this whole Batista and King Booker rivalry. I really did. Part of it is because I'm not the biggest Booker T fan, especially King Booker. If there's any Booker T that I like, it's WCW or even like his little TNA run. But yeah, this match was not good. It's one of those things where you knew Batista was going to win the world title, which he ended up winning at Survivor Series of 2006. So this was just kind of one of those stepping stones to get to that, and it's really not a good match at all. So that's kind of disappointing. And then your main event, we have a great rivalry. Edge with Lita by his side versus John Cena for the WWE Championship. And, I love Edge. I absolutely love Edge. Like, his heel run with Lita, that to me is the golden age of Edge. And, you had a great rivalry with John Cena, who was also chasing the belt, and then he would eventually win in Unforgiven in the TLC match. But, you had, the night after this, Edge debuting the Rated R belt, which was... It's not the best looking belt, but I still liked it. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure belt, to be honest. And then Cena, obviously we have, the infamous segment with Edge going to Cena's house and slapping his father. And, dude, the story behind that promo is just legendary. When you had, I think, Brian Gerwitz, who is the former writer, he went on the Edge and Christian podcast. Listen to the behind-the-scenes, story on this segment with Edge and John Cena's father. It is priceless. So look up the Edge and Christian podcast with Brian Gerwitz. I think it's actually Gerwitz. Sorry if I mispronounced his name. But, just comedic gold. And this match was good. You had the screwy finish with the brass knuckles at the end. But, like I said, it's kind of like the King Booker and Batista match. It's a stepping stone, where that one's kind of for the worse, but this main event was for the best. I love this rivalry, and I love the heat that Edge had. He was a perfect heel. Never quite liked him as a babyface, to be honest, because he's a true heel. It's like having Roddy Piper or Jake Roberts as faces. You just can't do it. They're natural heels. And Edge, to me, is one of the best natural heels of all time. I think he's up there with some of the best heels, like Roddy Piper, Jake Roberts. CM Punk was a great heel. More so in like Ring of Honor and stuff. But, can never go wrong with Edge versus John Cena. So... overall, I'm going to give this pay-per-view, I'm going to give it a B. I think it's very enjoyable. This is some of the best stuff that the Ruthless Aggression era had to offer. Do I like this pay-per-view more than I should? Yeah, probably, but I'm very unbiased when it comes to reviewing. So I'm going to give it a B. I think it's a very fair letter grade to give it. So let me know your thoughts down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. This has been the DVD Freak. Peace out.